Hello, Saul. How are you today?
Hello, I'm fine.
Okay, that's good. Well, let's see. Well, Marcela is connecting. Hello, Marcela. How are you today?
Hello, coach.
Hello, how are you, Marcela?
I'm fine,
Stephanie,
and
right?
you? I'm fine.
Okay.
Thank you for asking.
Well, I'm good today also. Thank you for being here. Hello, Marcela Abigail. How are you today?
Hello, teacher. I'm great. Thank you for asking. What about you?
Okay, that's something nice. I'm fine too. So thank you for asking. Well, thank you for coming on time to our class. Let me activate my camera. Well, nice to listen to you one more time. It's a pleasure to be with you in Intermediate 3. Let me tell you guys, welcome to this level. I hope we can understand all topics. Also, we can learn, and of course, we can practice all together. If you have any question about the topics that we have that we have to study in this level, you can let me know, and I will try to help you as much as possible. Okay. So tell me, how are you? Well, are you ready for today's class? Yes. Saul, Marcela, Abigail, and Marcela Stephanie, are you ready for today's class?
Yes,
Yes.
I'm ready.
Yes, I'm ready.
Okay, pretty good. So thank you for being here. Well, we will start the three of us with the four of us with the following class. And today, let me share my screen with you. Okay, we also have Sonia today. Hello, Sonia, how are you today?
Hello, teacher.
Hi,
Good,
how are you?
teacher. Good, good.
Okay, good. That's pretty nice. Welcome to our class. Well, guys, in this moment, we will start this level practicing a simple question. The question is, what are your favorite holidays? Remember, guys, holidays are, of course, the vacations, but also all the celebrations that we have on a calendar. So let's start with Marcela Stephanie. Marcelo, Marcela Stephanie, what's your favorite holiday, or what are your favorite holidays?
My favorite holiday, it will be Christmas.
Christmas.
Yes, because I love the holiday. It's shared with family and share with my friend, the gift, other other thing for this holiday.
Okay, that's nice. Do you play with fireworks?
What is forwards?
Fireworks, for example, volcancitos, estrellitas.
No, no, I don't.
So it's possible, but it's nice. In case I didn't like to
Okay.
play with this, but you do different activities, and that's pretty nice. Well, thank you for sharing, Marcela. What about you, Saul? What are your favorite holidays?
Well, my favorite Hollywood. I don't know, maybe maybe Christmas Day.
Christmas. Okay, what do you do on Christmas?
In Christmas Day.
Yes,
Well,
what do you do?
I nothing interesting. I only had to go to the church, and then I with my family and some presents. Give some presents, a little few of firework.
Okay, so you play with fireworks. That's nice.
Yeah, and then only relax. Try to to see a good movie and talk with other person. And sometimes we had a meeting, had a meet with other friends near here, near on my
Okay.
house.
Okay, well, that's something really good. What time, well, what time do you go to sleep? At least on Christmas.
Recording in progress.
Well, it depends. If around maybe 3 a.m.
3 a.m.
3 a.m.
Okay, well, that's a good time to go to sleep. Actually, this is a good day in which we can take more time to do different activities. For example, I remember that last Christmas I played video games with my brother, my brother-in-law, and also with my nephew. We were playing video games at 1 a.m. I guess. So that this is a good time to stay up late and to share with some other people. So thank you for sharing, Saul.
Okay.
Well, let's continue now and listen to Marcela Abigail, okay? Marcela, hello. Tell me, what are your favorite holidays?
In my opinion, my favorite holiday is Mother's Day. It's my I love enjoying time with my mother. Sometimes we eat out together in this day, and it's a holiday. It's a beautiful holiday.
Food, Marcela, what do you prefer? Eating out for lunch or for dinner? What do you prefer?
I prefer lunch.
Lunch. Okay. Yeah, it's more, I consider it's more common to have lunch with. Well, in Mother's Day, it's more common to have lunch, but it's also nice. Well, thank you for sharing, Marcela Abigail. Let's continue now and listen to Sonia. Okay, Sonia, hello. Tell me, what are your favorite holidays?
Okay, it's similar to Marcela. I prefer Mother's Day because I enjoy with all of my family. It has a party. We celebrate with my mom and my children celebrate to me.
Ah, okay, so that's something good. So now you celebrate this day, right? That's something good, okay? So, well, you receive some presents in that day, at
And-
least, well, in your case, that if you're a mother, guys, well, girls, if you're a mother, so you can receive presents. Well, and on Saturday, we are celebrating Father's Day. So if you have kids, if you're a boy and you have kids, so you will be celebrating. That's something nice. Thank you for sharing, Sonia. Well, we have to continue with our next activities, but first I want to say welcome and hello to Javier, Brian, and Leandro. Hello, guys. How are you today? How are you, Javier?
Good evening. I'm great. Thank you for asking, sir. How about you?
Okay, that's something nice. I'm really good today. Thank you for asking, Javier. And thank you for answering. What about Brian? How are you today, Brian?
Hi, teacher. I'm fine. It's a little traffic in the city, but it's okay.
Okay. Okay, I'm really sorry, but now are you at home?
Yes, I
Okay,
read maybe after 5 minutes.
Okay, so that's something good. So thanks God that you are at home and now you can relax a little bit more. Well, what about Leandro? How are you today, Leandro?
Sorry, I forgot to change the name, teacher. I am Juan.
Oh, it's Juan.
Yeah,
Okay, Juan.
actually, I am using her account. Sorry.
Okay, but don't worry, okay? Thank you for letting me know, Juan. Welcome to our class. I was, well,
Again.
I was surprised because I thought there was a new student. But it's good to have
No,
you here, Juan. Thank you for
it's a
coming.
surprise that you keeping our teacher as
Oh
well.
yeah, actually, I wasn't sure if I was going to continue with you, but I'm happy to be here with you guys.
Okay.
So thank you for being here, Juan. And Edith is here. Hello, Edith. Good evening. How are you today?
I'm great, teacher. And you?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for asking, and thank you for coming to our class. Well, guys, as you can see today, we are starting the class talking about holidays. Our topic, it's a little bit related to this topic. So we will try, or to this activity, so we will try everybody to create some examples using the following topic. And the topic that we have for today, everybody, is or are the relative clauses. Okay, relative clauses, guys, we will learn the two types of relative clauses that we have, and also the use of relative clauses and how to use them correctly. To start, everybody pay attention to Brian. Okay, Brian, please read this information. Go ahead.
Okay. Relative clause. We can use relative clause to jump to English sentence or to give more information about something. About a new car is the piece of information one. It's very fast. Piece of information two. About new car dies very fast.
Nice. Thank you, Brian. Well, Brian, I have a question for you. In this part, we have, I bought a new car. It is very fast. How many sentences do we have? One or two sentences?
Maybe two.
Two sentences. How do you know that there are two sentences?
Maybe the first is a new car and second is a very fast.
Okay, that's good. Thank you, Brian. So we have this specific information in each sentence, but how do you know what is another detail that help you to know that there are two sentences? What do you think, Javier? Why
Sorry, what?
why are there two sentences in that part? I bought a new car, it is very fast. How do you know that there are two sentences?
Sorry, I don't understand. Can you repeat again?
Okay, how many sentences are there? I bought a new car. It is very fast. How many sentences are there? One sentence or two sentences?
Okay. Two sentences.
Why are there two sentences? How do you know that?
Well, piece of information one, I can see I bought a new car. Piece of information two, it is very fast.
Okay, so good. Thank you, Javier. Well, Brian and you are right. As you can see, well, first of all, guys, I divided the sentences in a color. For example, the first sentence, it's in blue. The second sentence is in red. Obviously, guys, we will not see that at least in a book or in an exam. You will not find two colors, but we know that there are two sentences because they are divided by a period, okay? Remember that when you write a sentence, well, you have to finish or to end the sentence with a period. So sentence number one, period. Sentence number two, or piece of information number two, then we have a period, okay? So this is one important detail that you have to pay attention to identify that we have two sentences, okay? Also, as I mentioned, okay, so I have, we have different colors for each sentence. The first sentence, it's in blue. The second sentence, it's in red. Also, guys, we have piece of information one, piece of information two. Okay, now guys, pay attention to the next sentence. As you can see, we have the same information in this sentence. I bought a new car that is very fast. Now, question for Edith. Edith, how many sentences are there in the second example? One sentence or two sentences? Hello, Edith. Okay,
Hello,
listen
teacher.
to. Hello,
Do you
Edith.
can repeat the question, please?
Yes, I can repeat. How many sentences are there in this example? I bought a new car that is very fast. Is it one sentence or two sentences?
The one sentence?
One sentence. Okay, you are right. This is one single sentence. I bought a new car that is very fast. This is, everybody, the function of relative clauses. To link or to join two sentences and create only one sentence, okay? That's why we have two pieces of information. Piece of information one, piece of information two. So instead of using two sentences, guys, it's better if we join the two sentences using the relative clauses or the relative pronouns and create one single sentence. In some cases, guys, for example, when you are making the TOEIC, this is an English certification. So when you make the TOEIC, everybody, in the writing test, sometimes you have to describe a picture in one sentence. Relative clauses can help you to use as much information as possible in one single sentence instead of writing two or three sentences. So in that case, it's better to use relative clauses and create one single sentence, okay? It can help you if you make the certification, but if you don't make the certification, at least not very soon, it can help you guys to create and to give a lot of information in one single sentence. Right now, before we start talking about the types of relative clauses, let's pay attention to this part. Okay, can you help me reading, Saul?
Okay. A moment. Relative clause. To join two sentences, we need to use the following relative pronouns. For example, person, thing, place, time, and reason. Example one, subject. Who, that. The thing, with, that, place, where, time, when, and reason why. And possessive, was.
Very good. Well, as you can see, we use the WH words, the ones that we use in WH questions, yes. We use the WH words as relative pronouns, okay? When we are talking about the relative clauses, we need to use these words as relative pronouns. In the case of the platform, guys, if you already checked the activities on the platform, you will see that, well, in the platform, you will find the use of that and also the use of which, okay? You will find those three relative pronouns. But we will have, or we will try to check some other examples using, for example, where, when, okay? Why it's also possible, but it's not very common, okay? That's why we will not create too much examples too many examples using why. In the case of whose, as you can see, we are talking about possessions. We're talking about belongings. For example, well, you can say that you are my students. So I can say Christian is, well, I will create an example in a moment. I will write an example for you on the chat. So you can say, for example, Saul is a student whose teacher is Christian. I will write it for you on the chat. Saul is a student whose teacher is Christian. So we're talking about the relation, in this case, the relationship that we have between Saul and me, teacher, student, okay? So we use the possessives. It's not very common. It's more common to use who instead of using whose, but it's also possible, okay? Let's get into our business and check some examples using the relative clauses. But first, guys, remember that there are two types of relative clauses. Okay, Brian, tell me, what is the first type of relative clauses?
The reading, yes.
Yes, the
Definite
first one.
relative clause. Introduce essential information about the noun in the main clause.
Thank you. Okay. Something important you have to remember when using the relative clauses or the defining relative clauses is that the defining relative clauses mention essential information, or they introduce essential information about the noun in the main clause. So remember these two words, essential information. When using the relative pronouns in the defining relative clauses, we always mention or we always say important information, essential information. So remember this, guys, at the moment of practicing and also at the moment of creating some examples. Now, everybody, pay attention to Juan. Juan, tell me, what is the use of non-defining relative clauses?
Give me a second. Just move that to the other side. Okay.
Okay.
Non-defining relative clause, right?
Yes.
Give extra information about the noun. This information is between commas. It is not essential.
Okay, thank you. Well, I have a question for Marcela Stephanie. Marcela, tell me, now that you have this information, what is the difference between defining and non-defining relative clauses? What do you think, Marcela?
In the case defining relative clauses, introduce essential information. And change non-defining relative clauses and just give extra information, not essential information.
Nice, okay. Well done, Marcela Abigail. That was really good. As you can see, guys, the difference between defining and non-defining relative clauses is that defining relative clauses mention essential information, something that is really important in the sentence. Non-defining relative clauses, on the other hand, talk about extra information, something that is not essential. And guys, something that you have to remember is that that extra information that you shared in the non-defining relative clauses go between commas, okay? That information goes between commas. Let's check some examples, guys, of defining and non-defining relative clauses. Just before we move, do you have any question about this topic? No questions? Okay, let's check some examples, guys. To continue with our class, Listen to Javier, okay? Javier is going to help us with this information. Okay, Javier? Read the, well, all the information on the slide.
Okay, defining relative clause. Introduce essential information about the noun in the main clause. For example, she has a son who is a doctor. Main clause and definite relative clause. And we never use commas with definite relative clause.
Thank you, Javier. Okay. Pay attention to it, guys. When we are talking about defining relative clauses, we talk about important information, something that is essential. For example, guys, we divide the sentence in two parts, the main clause and the defining relative clause. How do you know that which is the defining relative clause? Well, because we are using a defining relative pronoun. In this case, we are using who. Okay. Now, pay attention to it. Each part of the sentence depends on the other part of the sentence. The main clause depends on the defining relative clause, and the defining relative clause depends on the main clause. For example, imagine we only have the main clause. So I will hide the defining relative clause. What is the sentence that we have? Sonia, what is the sentence?
Main clause.
And what is the main clause? Can you read the main clause?
She has a son.
Okay, thank you. Now, let's ask yourself the following question. Is that information important? She has a son. Not really. I think, guys, that this is general information about something. She has a son. That's it. We don't have more information and nothing important about that. But then, everybody, we have the defining relative clause. Which or what is the essential information that we want to say? He is a doctor. She has a son. He is a doctor. Okay, but we need one single sentence. In that case, everybody, we use the defining relative clauses. We use who because we are talking about a person, he, and then we create a single sentence with essential information. She has a son who is a doctor. Now, what is the essential information? What is something remarkable of this sentence? That her son is a doctor. That's the relevant, or that's the essential information that we introduce in this kind of sentences, in defining relative clauses. Okay, as you can see, in this kind of sentences, well, first of all, guys, it's a single sentence. Okay, it's only one sentence, and we use a period at the end of the sentence, as in every sentence. Remember that all sentences end in a period. So then, everybody, one single sentence, no commas, nothing that divides the sentence, guys, only a period at the end of the sentence. Okay, so we never use commas. Let's continue, guys, and check other examples talking about the defining and give me a second. Oops, give me a second, guys. Okay, talking about the defining relative clauses. Remember that we are always talking about essential information, okay? Let's continue, guys, reading this information. So let's pay attention to Marcela Stephanie. Hello, Marcela Stephanie. Please read this information.
The relative pronoun can be used as subject or an object in the definite relative clause. Subject of the definite relative clause. Other example, object of the definite relative clause. I need a television that works. He, the actor that we saw last week.
Thank you. Okay, this is one, well, this is something else that you have to remember about the defining relative clauses. Actually, well, this is important, guys, but it is not important if you know, it is not too important if you can use it as a subject and as an object, okay? The important thing is to identify how to use it or how to use the defining relative clauses. For example, in this case, as a subject of the defining relative clause, we have one single sentence. But remember, we can also divide these sentences in two. If we are not using the relative pronouns, we can divide the sentence. For example, I need a television. This is not too important. This is not relevant, but it's good to know that you need a television. The other sentence, the television needs to work, of course, because anybody wants, well, nobody wants a television that doesn't work. So in that case, you need a television, the television needs to work, or the television has to work. In that case, we don't want two sentences. We need only one sentence. So we join the two sentences, and instead of using the subject, for example, it needs to work to create to start the second sentence. So in that case, it's better if we use a defining relative clause or a relative pronoun, and we say, I need a television that works. So that is something important. I need a television, not a random television. I need a television that works. Okay, so then everybody, this is the first part. In the second example, we use it as an object of the defining relative clause. He is an actor, or he's the actor. What actor? Oh, the actor we saw last week. So we have, again, we have two sentences, but remember that the information that goes in the defining relative clause is always essential, is always important. So he's the actor. Yes, he's an actor, but what happened with him? He's the actor we saw last week. So it works as an object if you remember the, the structure of a sentence or a basic sentence, subject, verb, and complement. So then, as you see, we are using an object, or we are using the defining relative clause as the object of the sentence, okay? This is something just to make sure we understand how to use the defining relative clauses. Remember, we never use commas in a defining relative clause, and we have to use, we always have to use the relative pronoun in the defining relative clause or in the non-defining relative clause. We will learn, or we will check that in a moment. Now, everybody, it's time to move to the non-defining relative clause. Give me a second. To the non-defining relative clauses, okay? Let's pay attention right now. We will listen to Javier, okay, Javier? Help me reading this information about the non-defining relative clauses.
Okay, give extra information about the noun. This information is between commas. It is not essential. The necklace which she bought yesterday was stolen. My clause, non-definite relative clause, and main clause.
Thank you. Okay, everybody, pay attention to this. We have the main clause at the beginning of the sentence and at the end of the sentence. Let's make an exercise, guys. Let's hide the non-defining relative clause. Okay, we will hide it. Now, the necklace was stolen. The necklace was stolen. Okay, now I have a question. Does the sentence make sense? The necklace was stolen. Does the sentence make sense? What do you think, Saul? Does the sentence make sense?
Yeah, the necklace was stolen.
Okay, it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's why everybody, the non-defining relative clauses give extra information. Because if we have that information, good. But if we don't have the information, good. We don't have any problem if the information is there or not. Okay, so that's why everybody in the non-defining relative clauses, we have to use commas. Give me a second, guys. I hide the other comma. Let's see. So as you can see, we use a comma at the beginning of the non-defining relative clause over here. Give me a second, another color. Okay, over here we have a comma. And after the sentence, after the clause, the non-defining relative clause, we have another comma. So as you see, this is not essential because we can omit that information and there is no problem because we understand or we got the main idea of the sentence, that the necklace was stolen. Then if you mention which she bought yesterday, this is something extra. It's good to know, but it's not important. It's just extra information, okay? Let's check another example. Okay, I will read this part. Generally, non-defining relative clause come in the middle of the sentence, but in some cases, they can be used at the end, okay? So remember, guys, this is extra information, so we can use it at the, well, in the middle of the sentence or at the end. Let's pay attention to okay, Edith, read the sentence about Linda.
Noun defining relative clause. General noun defining relative clause come in the middle of the sentence, but in some cases they can be used at the end. We spoke to Linda, main clause, who recently got married. Noun defining relative clause.
Thank you, Edith. Okay, as you can see, guys, again, let's do the same activity. We will hide the non-defining relative clause. Okay, let's hide it. We spoke to Linda. Does it make sense? What do you think, Juan? Does the sentence make sense? We spoke to Linda?
I think not.
No?
No.
Okay, it can be, okay? It is possible. So let's see, okay. Let's see, as you can see in this sentence, we spoke to Linda. Maybe you already identified who is Linda, but then we can share some extra information about her, who recently got married. So this is not essential to identify Linda because maybe we don't know about this information, but it's good to know, okay? It's not essential, it's not important to understand the context of the person we are talking about, but it's extra information that, as I said, is good to know, okay? It is not important at all, okay? Or it's not that important to understand that we are talking about Linda, a friend that we have many years ago. But this is something extra that that now you know, that she recently got married, okay? As you can see, when we use the non-defining relative clause at the end of the sentence, we use 1 comma, and then at the end we use a period, okay? In the way we have to finish a sentence, okay? When it's in the middle of the sentence, so we have to use comma and comma. But when we use it at the end of the sentence, we have to use a comma in a period, okay? Do you have any question about defining and non-defining relative clauses, guys? Any question or something that you think or something that you think that I can explain a little bit more? Or everything's clear?
A little clear.
A little clear. I consider, guys, these kind of topics are not difficult, but they are kind of they are kind of hard to remember because, well, we have to learn, or we have to remember, the two types, the defining and the non-defining relative clauses. That's why I consider it's kind of difficult, okay? It's kind of hard, but it is easy. At the moment of practicing and using it, it's really easy, and you will see it, okay? In this moment, guys, we will practice the next activity. Rewrite these sentences using relative clauses. Okay, guys, in this moment, we can use who, whose, and which. Something, guys, that I want to emphasize is that we use who when we are talking about people or when we are talking about a person. Then we use whose when we are talking about the possession of something or the relationship that people or something have. And which, everybody, is used for things or objects. And guys, something interesting that I didn't mention, but it's important that you know, is that we can use that when talking about people and when talking about things, okay? So this is well, it's easier if we use that. But in this opportunity, guys, remember, we are not using that. Only who, whose, and which, okay? I will show you guys the examples. As you can see, now in this example, we use who, which. Okay, as you can see over here, we are using that in the two sentences, but as you can see, we are using that for a television, for objects, and we are using that to talk about a person, to talk about the rock, okay? But this is another thing. Okay, so guys, remember this. At the moment of using the relative pronouns on the platform, on the exercises in the platform, so remember, guys, that you can use who or which or that when talking about people or things, okay? Right now, guys, let's complete the following activity. We have to rewrite the sentences using relative clauses, okay? For example, we have two sentences. He drank the juice, he made the juice, okay? So we are talking about the juice. Pay attention to it. The relative clause that we created is he drank the juice which he made, okay? So we convert two sentences into one sentence, okay? Everybody, it's time to practice. Right now, if you want, you will have 1 minute to identify how can you create or how can you join two sentences to create one single sentence, okay? Let's take a minute and then we practice. 1 minute to identify how to create the sentences, to practice on your head, or if you want, you can write on your notebook to practice. So it will help us, guys, to create the sentences in the correct way. Okay, everybody, 10 seconds now. Okay, everybody, time's up. So time's over right now, guys. We will start practicing. The first sentences that we have are, a lion is an animal. It is very strong. Everybody pay attention to Marcela Abigail. She will help us with example number 1. What do you think, Marcela, is the correct sentence using relative clauses?
Okay. A lion is an animal who is very strong.
Okay, a lion is an animal who is very strong. Hey, I like your idea. We will check together the sentence in a moment, but thank you, Marcela. That was nice. Let's continue with our second sentence. Everybody pay attention to Brian. Okay, Brian, what do you think? A novelist is a person. The second sentence, he writes novels.
Okay, is a novelist is a person who writes novels.
Who writes novels. Okay, good job. Thank you, Brian. Let's continue with another girl. Guys, pay attention to Edith. Okay, Edith, example number 3 says, a bottle opener is a device. It opens bottles. Which is the correct sentence?
A bottle opener is a device which opens bottles.
Which opens bottles. Nice. Okay, thank you for your sentence. Let's continue with our example number 4. Tell me, please, Javier, what do you think is the correct sentence number 4?
Okay. The girl speaks Chinese. Um, well, who mother writes poems.
Who mother writes poems. Okay. Nice job. Thank you, Javier. That was really good. Let's continue with the last example. Okay, Javier, now you have the opportunity to pick someone. Saul, Marcela Stephanie, Sonia, or Juan?
Leandro Alberto.
Leandro Alberto, Juan. Okay, let's pay attention to Juan. Juan, example number 5. A detective is someone. He discovers the truth about crimes. Which is the correct relative clause sentence? Hello, Juan.
No, sorry. The microphone is turned off. Sorry.
Ah, okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
you can continue.
A detective is someone who's discovered the truth about crimes.
Oh, a detective is someone.
Is I think it's who, but you can use which as well.
Why?
Which is discover the truth about crimes. Who? But it's a person is who, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So very good. So who discovers the truth about crimes?
Crimes.
Okay. Let's see. We finished. Okay, thank you, Juan, for your example. So we finished, guys, with our 5 sentences. Let's check if they are all correct. Okay. First example, guys. A lion is an animal who is very strong. Marcela Stephanie, what do you think? Is this sentence correct or incorrect?
I consider it correct, coach, teacher.
Correct. Is the
No.
lion a person?
Which?
So yeah, guys, it's not a person, it's an
That's
animal.
what I
So
said.
it's taken as an object, okay? Sadly, animals are taken as objects. So it's an animal which is very strong. However, Marcela Abigail, I remember that you created the sentence. It was really good, okay? At least you remember the order of a relative clause, and that's something really nice. That's just remember, okay? Who, person, people, okay? Animals, they are taken as which, okay? We can use which for animals. So thank you. Let's see, next example. A novelist is a person who writes novels. Sonia, is it correct or incorrect? What do you think?
I think it's correct.
Yes, it's correct. So very good, Sonia. It's correct, guys. So number 2 and number 3 are correct. So a novelist is a person who writes novels, and a bottle opener is a device which opens bottles. Then example number 4. Saul, is sentence number 4 correct or not? What do you think?
I think it's not correct.
Not
Maybe number
number
a
4.
person. No, which? Sorry.
Number 4.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. It's correct.
It's correct. You are partially correct. Okay, you are partially right. Well, guys, in this case, who sounds kind of weird.
Yeah.
Yes,
Maybe
very
who's
good.
possession.
Very good. Saul and Juan, you are right. Okay, so the correct form is whose. Why? Remember, guys, the example I wrote on the chat at the beginning of the class. Saul is a student whose teacher is Christian. I am not talking about possession because I am not a possession. I am not Saul's possession, and Saul is not teacher Christian's possession. So in that case, everybody, we are talking about relationship, okay? Teacher, student. Then everybody, that's why when we are talking about the girl and her mother, we talk about the relationship they have. So in that case, everybody, whose is the right option? And then we have the last example that we hesitate a little bit about this, but it's correct. A detective is someone who, because we are talking about someone, a person, discovers the truth about crimes. Okay, everybody, I'm really happy that we understood the order of the relative clauses. In this case, all of them are defining relative clauses because we are not using commas, okay? All of them are defining relative clauses. So we understand the topic or the use of this, and also the order that we have to use in a relative clause sentence. Just remember, guys, the correct use of who, which, and whose when talking about possession or relationship, okay? Now, remember that since we are starting today intermediate 3, I will ask you guys to start with our activities on the platform. If you already started, guys, congratulations. If you haven't started yet, you can do it today or tomorrow morning, okay? Please, guys, starting activity 1.0, time to celebrate. Complete the following activities, and at least for tomorrow, guys, we have to complete all the activities until activity 1.2.4, okay? Everybody, try to work on the platform to, well, to continue practicing and have a review of the topics that we are studying in the class, okay? Do you have any question about this or something to comment? Yes, no? Well, if there are no questions, guys, I'm really happy to start this level with you and that we start with this incredible topic, guys, I really like. So I hope to see you tomorrow. Let's continue practicing, guys, and have a good night, okay? See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
See you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye,
Thanks.
teacher.
Bye. Nice to listen to you practicing, guys. It
Bye-bye.
was really cool. Bye-bye.